Nikon. Wow. I've been using the Nikon ZF for a little bit, a couple videos. I've noticed a bunch of things I actually love and didn't expect because it's a photography-centric camera and I'm trying to vlog with the damn thing. I've noticed some actual positive ergonomic type things and some serious downsides. Let's talk.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on the Nikon ZF with the Nikkor 17 to 28 mm Tony 2.8. Definitely not a Tamron knockoff. Totally cool. I have a focus box spanning the entire top horizon of our lives. So like if I duck out of here, I'm not being focused on, but Nikon has a thing that says if we don't detect a face, we won't try anything. So it should really never hunt ever. So I wrote down a bunch of notes, things I love and hate about Nikon, and we're gonna compare the 17 to 28 versus the 28 mm prime from Nikkor. Just throwing that out there. If you extend it on a selfie stick, that could be your thing. It's much lighter than this. This is ridiculous weight. Well, we'll get to the fatness of you. But first thing, hands down the worst grip in the history of our world. It's so bad. I've heard it, you've heard it. You don't know the sadness until you touch it. And it's like, wow. Like, you think the Fuji X-T4 grip was bad? That was heaven. That was absolute heaven. You could hold the entire camera just by your fingertips. It would dangle. This, nothing. There's nothing there at all. It's just like a tiny hump designed to prevent water from spilling over if you pour water on it or something. It has no purpose. How's the Stabe doing? We're just in regular IBIS, no sport mode. We'll try some digital stuff later. Let's try it right now. Okay, first here's sport mode, which I found on the Z30 was a mistake. Never go in it. So is it already much worse, or is the full frame for some reason more athletic and sport mode is like, yeah, let's try this. You're obese on a surfboard, let's be real. Is that something I need in my life? It feels like it. Oh boy, I wish I could zoom in cinematically on it. Oh my god. Oh, my focus mode. Oh, the box thing. Oh, you're not a human face. Oh no. Some nice Stabe you got there, Nikon. Didn't see that one coming. I was gushing over you the whole video. I was nice, wasn't I? Then I see the footage, I'm like, that's so shaky. Damn you, straight to hell, Steinbeck. You've effed me once again. 40 mm, 22, long selfie stick. Audio hidden out of your life. That's a real shame, isn't it? I hear for telephoto, Stabe's amazing, but you're pulling a Fuji, aren't you? Yeah, vlogging, Stabe, not so important, is it? And it autofocus hunted a couple times, didn't it? Okay, now I've got out of sport mode and we're in digital Stabe. Let's see how that touches our lives. The locks, these are the weirdest knobs and dials you've ever seen in your life. It's like you have to press the middle button to turn it. I hate that so much from the Sony. But then, for some reason, if you turn it enough, it unlocks and you can turn it around and then it locks at one point again. It's a strange thing, but I imagine intuitively, if you're just looking through the viewfinder and you're touching dials, oh yeah, okay, I can go through here. Like you could remember, oh yeah, when it locks, it's at the manual part or bulb mode or something. Weird, but kind of cool, and it has the PASM mode right there. It might be one of the more intuitive systems because I'm a fan of custom modes. How's this Stabe? Should we get out of it? One last segment. I love custom modes. You save like, okay, 4K 24p for talking heads, then 4K 120 on my Sony for the ultimate slow motion resolution, and then HD 240. So I have like 3 custom modes. Problem is, once you save a custom mode on Sony and Canon, you cannot change from aperture priority to manual. You can't custom white balance. There's a lot that you're locked into. There's some times where it's like, okay, I just want slow motion, auto expose, yeah, we're running across the street. And then other times I want to manually dial it in. At home, I can't do it. Whereas in here, you totally could. Boom, switch into slow-mo, and then manual, aperture, whatever you want. All right, digital stab is off. We're in N-Log right now. Here's one little quirk. Nikon color science is bewildering me. I'm not sure if I like it or hate it. It's more natural than Sony, but I do have a more pinkish face, it seems, in my studio. I'm not sure how to rectify that other than eating better. I realize there's nothing Nikon color science can do if you have herpes, for instance. So, like, you're never going to look professional if you're diseased and you live in a sewer and your back alley is your backyard. So, like, there's nothing Nikon can really say in that situation. Like, sorry, there's only so much we can correct here. So I get it, but, like, it's weird. I love Nikon color science, but sometimes I'm like, damn, my face looks pink or something. I don't know. Sony evens out the face for some reason. Like, I have a rash on the forehead, various parts, it comes and goes, and Sony kind of ignores it. Canon enhanced it, and Nikon seems to be somewhere in the middle. That's not right. Okay, now I just switched out of log into rich portrait. Interesting, a lot of companies make that hard. I think Sony might be the best at that. I can save a custom button and then turn that off, and then I'm in standard. This, I had to go through a lot, but it's much better than Canon, where you have to menu dive, turn log off, and then go in a separate menu. So for this one, I've set a custom button to allow me my my menu choice, which is log. So I have to press that, turn log off, and then I also have another custom button, for now at least, I'm tweaking stuff, where you hold the button and then scroll through your different picture profiles. So we're in rich portrait, which should be nice, and I find that usually in these modes, Nikon will expose for your face much better than in log. I want to see if that is true or not. So let's switch back into log. Okay, now we're in log. Doesn't seem to be true. So, like most other companies, if you're in Canon standard, you have this face exposure, and then it will kind of blow the highlights out, but it keeps your face exposed. That's nice. Sony, same kind of thing. Oh wait, I didn't finish the Canon part. If you go into log on Canon, it no longer does that. It only protects highlights. And Sony, I think, is very similar. S-Log 3, protect highlights, don't look at the face. If you're in standard, it looks at your face. Nikon might look at your face in log and expose. I find they have like one of the best auto exposures in the business on the Z30, and it's still here, if not improved. Uh-oh. Oh, I manually focused. I touched that dial. Uh-oh. Oh no, you can't turn it off while recording. That's weird. That's bad. Oh man, what the hell's... Really? See, when you touch the manual focus dial, it goes into manual focus, obviously, and that's cool. And then usually you have pressed the shutter to turn that off, and it goes to autofocus again. It's not doing it. I just want to confirm if that's true or not, because for wildlife, that would really suck. You're in autofocus, bird detect, oh no, it's not quite getting it. You manually focus tweak, okay, cool. And then you want to half press if he flies off and it'll follow it, but you can't half press. Is that the truth? Manually focusing, uh-oh, we're in here, okay. Half press the shutter, no, uh-oh. It doesn't work. That sucks. Nikon, you suck. So how's this lens been? Ultra wide, we have zoom capabilities, not much. 11 millimeters, it's not a lot. It's more than Sony gave you on that 16 to 25. I'll tell you that much. Let's switch to the 28 mil, extend it out. I think I prefer that look. Okay, 28 mil, extend it on out there. In my opinion, I was debating what would be the ultimate vlogging lens for Nikon full frame. It would either be this 28 mil Tony 2.8 because it's so light, or the 26 mil 2.8, which is even lighter but more expensive. This could have more pop, less elements, I think. We'll do a little pop test later with the Tamron lens at 28 versus this 28. See which one pops. Zooms usually don't. Not bad. How's the stave? Is it better at 28 mil? Feels worse. I wonder what happens if you move this dial while recording. It just stops the recording. So you can't switch from aperture priority to manual while recording. That's a bitch. But I do really like that system where it's like aperture priority and auto ISO, and then one switch into manual and not auto ISO. But if you want auto ISO in manual, you have to go into the menu. It's a bitch. I was gonna move you further away, but I'm limited by this short, tiny lav mic. It's so good and cheap and short. When you want it for handheld, there's not all this extra cordage, but if you want to extend it out like a freak, you got problems. So there's some ergonomic issues that aren't perfect with this thing, but it's hot damn not bad. Switching into slow-mo is just, you go into the function menu, and I like how it 1080p 120 frames per second is right beside 4K 24p. So it's like, boom, one press, back and forth. And when it comes to the files, that was my biggest complaint about Canon R8. When you go to H22461, the 10-bit 422 in log, it's so hard to edit and it's so annoying. So I was wondering, like, is Nikon gonna have the same problem? They don't. They're the easiest to edit files you ever seen, but it's because they're cripple hammered. They're 420 10-bit H265, but they're only like 47 megabits per second. It's really low bit rate. So I imagine these files will fall apart in like a demon LUT situation. How you gonna do that? No demon LUTs for you, I'll tell you that much. So it's unfortunate. He had yellow pants. That's the cinema. But I kind of like that Nikon gives you 10-bit for hobos. It's like, you can say you have 10-bit, but it's like really easy to edit still, and you can't push it much, but like as if you were gonna push it anyway. So it's like, I'm enjoying it. I just switched to standard profile with none of the sharpening lower. It's a bit over sharpened right out the box. I gotta tweak the settings a bit, but if you're curious, Nikon has a little black and white mode on the dial. It's like, oh, that's cool. Only works for photos. So good luck with that. There's a video switch, photo switch, and then the black and white photo switch. You son of a bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is heavy as hell. This is the one downside of this Nikon camera. Everything's full metal and brass, and it's like, it feels kind of nice, except the grip is terrible. So I don't know what you were going for with that. The ergonomics are like good, but they're terrible as well. It's really heavy. Like that setup I was using with the Tamron lens, 1171 grams. That's ridiculous. With this lens, it's only 883, but it's still quite heavy. Heavier than a lot of things, I tell you. If, like the body's 724 grams, is it raining? Better be weather sealed. Nikon, don't mess around. If you want the 26mm lens, 849 grams. Not bad, little savings. 20mm 1.8, you'd think that'd be the ultimate thing. 1229, that's a new leader in heaviness. And the 14 to 30, 24. 1209, heavier than the Tamron. It's not a Tamron. But just for comparison, the Sony ZV-E1 full frame with the 20mm 1.8, 878 grams. And you'd be doing that handheld, you'd be laughing. Almost died. They're getting lunch. That is so heavy extended on this thing. That leverage makes it so much harder. But that's not really wide enough. It kind of is. You could get by. Wow. So all in all, it's a pretty good, like it's your only option if you're in Nikon and want full frame. It's the only one with a flippy screen. So you have that. We're waiting for the Z6 III. We don't know what that's going to be. I imagine it'll be superior. There's some cripple hammers in here, but like coming from Canon, it's a much better system. It's just easier to use. Everything about it. The battery life, much better. Custom white balance is just a down switch, boom, click. It's like very good. Color science is Canon level in some cultures, somewhat. Just a bit heavy. It's a lot heavier than that R8, but like it's good. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to test. It has waveform monitors. I want to see if I can turn it on in the display. Boom, I can. Wow. Oh, look at that. It's large. Can't really tell There's no numbers, there's just some lines. No, I don't know how to read this thing, but I have it. And I'm glad I do. And I can turn it off, and the level was on? We're not even level. Oh, that's hard. Harder than it looks. Now we're level. And then you turn that off. Cool. Just, you're a bit limited on custom buttons. What the hell was that? That dog tried to kill me. Like, there's a D-pad. You can't customize any one of those buttons because there's no joystick, and you need that to move around your focus box. Although, I do believe we figured out that the top row, that's cool. You can do shapes. Okay, last thing I want to test. See how dark it got. Nikon should recognize me and then be like, okay, we'll brighten it up a notch. Tamron versus Nikkor. They're technically Nikkor lenses, but I have a hard time believing it. So that was 17 mil. You could be fun. Then we zoom on in to 28. Are you seeing any pop factor? Am I popping out into your screen? And then your dog's like, is he living with us now? 3D pop at its finest. So I want to switch over to the prime and see, is there really a difference? Does that have any pop? I highly doubt it, but so pay attention. We're in the second dimension right now. Let's switch into the third. Okay. Huh? Is it better? 28 mil, it should be. It's a prime. I've never liked zooms, but at times it's kind of fun. You have the ultra wide, then you zoom in, and you're basically this. It's so much lighter, the prime, but is it really worth having the zoom fun for the heavier weight and the likely worse image? I don't know, man. It's a debate I have every day. Every day of my life, I think about this for 3 hours. You know what's funny? I move over here because there was a guy cutting weeds over there, and now he's closer to me, but he's tunneling now. Where will you go, sir? I hope you find your way. Don't look at my herpes. So far I'm quite happy with this. It's not designed at all for YouTubers, but it's totally workable. All the little worries I had. The funny thing is, I hate dials in general, but the X-T4 let you switch into slow-mo easier than any other system almost. You're in the viewfinder, 2 taps and a half press, and you're going from 4K 60 to HD 240. You don't even lose the bird. Like, I do a lot of comparisons, so I need stuff like this, and it's like, you have the bird in focus, 4K 60, okay. Now, super slow-mo, go do something. Still have a lot of quirks to work out. I don't know how to properly expose log yet, so we're working on that. I don't like your zebras. They don't look normal when they disappear and there's just slightly there. It just looks weird. It's hard to tell if they're on, and you don't have like 70%. That's what I'm used to seeing. You have mid-tone range, 160. So I have to learn a new set of numbers. What is this, math school? But it begins, my friend. This is the time that we discover, is Nikon worth investing into? And then goodbye Canon, goodbye Sony, Nikon everything. I don't think I could just have 2 ZFs. No effing way. I will sell this so hard to get a Z6 III when it comes. And then 2 Z6 IIIs, okay, we're talking. We're talking about something. But till then, we see. But so far, so good. So you could do worse. And when it comes to the best vlogging lens for this, I would probably lean the 26mm 2.8. It's a bit pricey, but it's so light, you could get by. There's no other options. You'd want the 20mm, but it's too heavy. So I'll leave. How do you figure this was today? Did you like any of it? What are your thoughts? Too much information on that screen. There's so many things. I'll leave. How you doing? Subscribing for more videos? Hey, next.